Rosslyn Chapel, Scotland. Perched atop a hill overlooking the village of Rosslyn, 7 miles south of Edinburgh, sits this medieval 15th century church. Some say that hidden on the grounds, in secret chambers within the church, are some of the world's greatest lost relics, including the treasure of the Knights Templar. This elite band of warrior monks had been based at the Temple Mount in Jerusalem during the Christian Crusades. They were also rumored to have been in possession of many valuable religious artifacts, including the most valuable golden relic of all, the Holy Grail, the cup used by Jesus during the Last Supper.
The Knights Templar began excavating at Solomon's Temple. It is said that they discovered secret caverns which held a huge hoard of gold artifacts. At the time of the sacking of Solomon's Temple, the treasure there suddenly vanished. They then took this treasure to Scotland and buried it at Rosslyn Chapel.
Rosslyn Chapel is one of the most fascinating possible recreations of Solomon's Temple. It literally is a Holy Grail temple that was constructed by William St. Clair and is designed to be a repository of Holy Grail secrets. When it was created, it had the most wonderful and fantastic symbolism perhaps anywhere in the world.
Could Rosslyn Chapel really have been built to house the Holy Grail? Some believe the architecture of the chapel is adorned with mysterious messages and symbols that reveal the secret whereabouts of the Cup of Christ.
And here we are. This is Rosslyn Chapel. William St. Clair was responsible for building the chapel. He was a very rich individual. He was the Chancellor of Scotland at the time.
We see this extraordinary, gifted, brilliant man collecting the wisdom traditions from around the world and instilling all of those into Rosslyn Chapel.
Among the many carvings found in the walls of Rosslyn Chapel are faces called the Green Men, pagan deities that represent growth and rebirth. Some believe these strange faces provide a clue that the chapel truly does hold the Holy Grail.
The carvings themselves have a dual meaning. They always have had a dual meaning.
The Green Man appears in over 110 different locations. As you watch the progression of the Green Man from east to west, that progression represents the passing of time.
So all the youngest of all the Green Man carvings are on the eastern wall, and towards the west, they become older.
This symbolizes the ultimate secrets of nature, and it makes one wonder if, in fact, the Grail is connected with these secrets and the presence of the Green Man in this Holy Grail chapel.
But if the Holy Grail truly does reside in Rosslyn Chapel, where might it be hidden? Some believe it lies within an ornate pillar called the Apprentice Pillar, and at least one person has actually attempted to retrieve it.
We actually have a story which is known to be factual. A person came into the chapel with an axe who was going to be intent on hacking down the Apprentice Pillar because he was convinced that the Grail was actually inside.
What is the Grail? What if I was to say the Grail is your DNA? Because it is your past and it is your future. And the very interesting thing is, when you look at that pillar, you see that it is actually the DNA column.
Might all these mysterious carvings that have been linked to the Holy Grail indicate that the chalice used by Jesus at the Last Supper was something more than just a drinking vessel?
The whole story is very fascinating to the ancient astronaut theory, Wolfram von Eschenbach, for example, suggests that the Holy Grail arrived from the stars. And the question is, what did he mean by that? It is often described as this vessel that had blinking red lights. Were the Templar in possession of some technological device?
Valley of the Kings, Egypt, November 1922. Archaeologist Howard Carter discovers King Tutankhamun's tomb, containing a treasure trove of artifacts. Among them is King Tut's magnificent breastplate, with a yellow jewel as its centerpiece, a jewel created as the result of a meteorite impact.
In Egyptian culture, there was a fascination with Libyan desert glass. And while it's not actually a meteorite, Libyan desert glass is the product of a meteorite impact. Millions of years ago, an enormous meteorite crashed into what is today the Egyptian desert. And the heat and pressure of that impact melted the sand in the desert, forming a beautiful yellow impact glass.
And it crystallizes the sand, it forms glass. And you get these wonderful, almost like jewel stones. And they clearly imagine these stones to be celestial, to have been created by the impact of a star. And therefore they were given cosmic meaning.
Humans have long had a fascination with meteorites and have fashioned many tools and spiritual objects from them. But why?
There are many magical stories of meteors, meteorites, and meteor showers. Aeschylus in Prometheus Unbound talks about an angry Zeus throwing rocks down at the earth. In the Aeneid, Virgil speaks of meteors. He describes a meteor shower as indicating Troy is about to fall. Such folk beliefs about meteors, shooting stars, meteorites were common in the ancient world, where clearly a piece of stone from the heavens is worshipped as a divine item.
The reason why they were so important was because they inherently had the power of the gods in them, because they were already forged in the universe and they descended from the sky.
Meteoric gemstones like Libyan desert glass have been venerated throughout history. But one particularly mysterious green gemstone could be the most sought-after relic of all time.
Moldavite is the name given to a green impact glass of extraordinary beauty and rarity that's only found in one small region of the Czech Republic. It's very old.
Metaphysically, Moldavite creates this strange pulsating energy field that amplifies human thoughts or intention. If you're a loving or compassionate person, it will amplify that. Or it can bring chaos if your thoughts and energy and emotions are chaotic.
According to some legends, the Holy Grail, the cup from which Jesus and his apostles drank during the Last Supper, was carved from a green gemstone that had fallen to earth from the heavens.
It is said that there was discord in the heavens involving Lucifer, and a stone dropped. It was a stone that at one time had been the center of Lucifer's crown when he was an important angel. It dropped to earth. It was then a piece of heaven on earth and had great power and was greatly venerated. It was carved into the Holy Grail, which was not made of metal, but of this beautiful emerald, a precious stone from heaven.
Temple Mount, Jerusalem, summer 2013. Just 164 feet from the Temple Mount's southern wall, archaeologist Dr. Eilat Mazar makes a stunning discovery. An inscribed earthenware jug that dates back 3,000 years, to the time of King Solomon. The discovery may confirm what many historians have suggested, that Solomon's temple once stood at this exact location. In addition to the historical significance, the find intrigues treasure hunters, as it may indicate that other, much more valuable relics may also lie buried at Temple Mount.
Solomon's temple was built in the 10th century BC by the great king of Israel, Solomon. And it was built initially to house the Ark of the Covenant.
According to the Hebrew Bible, Solomon's temple was constructed upon direct orders from God. Although it is best known for having housed the Ark of the Covenant, and possibly even the Holy Grail, some treasure hunters believe another relic of profound historical significance may lie buried at the site. A relic that ancient astronaut theorists claim is of extraterrestrial origin. Solomon's Ring.
One of the lesser-known great treasures of history is Solomon's Ring, and it is said that this ring had the name of God engraved upon it in a very secret and cryptic way.
The ring was representative of the authority from beyond this world. The wielder of that ring would be able to compel any and all who recognized that source of extraterrestrial power to do whatever he wished.
In the Islamic records, the Ring of Solomon was given to him by angels. It gave him magical powers. Through this ring, he could control the jinn or genies.
According to both the Quran and the Hebrew Talmud, Solomon's ring also aided him in constructing the temple itself.
Somehow this ring gave him the power to control otherworldly beings, for want of a better term. Demons, you can call them genies, or you can call them extraterrestrials.
Solomon was in need of a higher technology in order to build his temple. He knew that he had to contact Ashmodai, later known by the Greek name Asmodeus, who was the head of the daemons. With this ring, clearly none of human origins, Ashmodai was hereby compelled and required to provide for Solomon whatever he needed to fulfill the building of the Temple of God.
In 1933, Adolf Hitler rose to power and began consolidating Germany's military, political, and economic institutions under the control of his Nazi Party apparatus. For years, Werner von Braun avoided becoming a member of the Nazi Party, but on November 12, 1937, he was commanded to join and did so.
To hear him tell it, he had no choice. That it was either do that or face the same fate as everyone else who disobeyed the Nazis, certain death. Von Braun didn't think the Nazi movement was the way to go, but it was a means to an end to develop his rockets.
In 1944, with the help of additional funding from the German government, von Braun launched the 45-foot, 27,000-pound A4, later rechristened the V2, or Vengeance Weapon. While von Braun's first rocket only reached 1.4 miles, the V2 climbed to an altitude of 108.5 miles and became the first man-made object to ever reach space.
The V2 rocket was a one-stage liquid-fueled rocket that was not comparable to any other rocket at the time, because there weren't other rockets at the time. You had rockets in development. What von Braun was able to do with the V2 was combine the theory with the practical application and develop the first rocket ever to be able to reach space.
How was von Braun able to advance Germany's rocket program so far in just a few short years? Was it due to a desperate nation supplying him with massive amounts of money and material? Or could there be another reason? On July 1st, 1935, Hitler's SS commander, Heinrich Himmler, established Ahnenerbe, an elite Nazi institute that purported to research the cultural and archaeological history of the Germans. However, its true purpose proved far more bizarre.
Ahnenerbe was based on the idea that the Aryan race was the most directly descended from ancient, perhaps alien gods.
Part of their job was to literally go all over the world looking for special occult artifacts, things like the Ark of the Covenant and the Holy Grail.
Von Braun became closely associated with them through his association with the SS and with Heinrich Himmler. And one of the main reasons for that was that they felt like rocketry was almost an arcane secret, and a sort of black magic that would enable them to dominate the world.
As World War II broke out across Europe, Ahnenerbe expanded its research into secret weapons programs. And Himmler tapped von Braun as its technical director at Germany's large-scale experimental research facility at Peenemünde in northwest Germany. It was during these next several years that von Braun advanced the science of propulsion, aerodynamics, and rocket guidance systems beyond what anyone had thought possible.
You have to ask yourself, where would they have gotten that kind of knowledge so quickly? One of the possible reasons is that the Ahnenerbe, with their researchers, had actually discovered technology through some of their expeditions to find ancient relics. And their search really for ancient technology